There is a truth about men that modern society rarely speaks about, not because it isn't real, but because it's uncomfortable. We live in a culture that tells men they should be loyal to everyone, commit without question, and sacrifice without reason. But biology doesn't work that way. Psychology doesn't work that way. And purpose certainly doesn't work that way. Every woman wants loyalty. Every woman expects commitment. But here is the hard truth no one likes to say out loud. Not every woman inspires it. Men are capable of extraordinary devotion. They will endure pressure, rejection, risk, and hardship for something they believe is worth protecting. They will work longer hours. They will walk away from temptation. They will carry responsibility in silence. But they do not give these things to just anyone. Because for a man, loyalty is not an emotion. It is a decision backed by purpose. Romance movies teach that love alone is enough. Reality teaches something very different. Men commit when they feel respected. Men stay loyal when they feel useful, valued, and trusted. Men sacrifice when their presence actually matters. This isn't about control. It isn't about submission. And it certainly isn't about manipulation. It's about something far older than modern dating advice. A man gives his loyalty to the place where his strength is needed. His effort is appreciated, and his purpose is protected. And when that happens, commitment stops being forced and becomes instinct. If you want to understand male loyalty, you don't study romance. You study purpose. Men are not built for comfort. They are built for challenge. Comfort dulls a man. Challenge sharpens him. At a deep, almost primal level, every man is constantly asking one question. What am I fighting for? Not consciously, not in words, but in every decision he makes, every sacrifice he accepts, every responsibility he chooses to carry. If the answer is pleasure, temporary excitement, attention, or validation, his commitment will always be shallow, short-lived, easily replaced, because pleasure doesn't demand discipline. It doesn't require endurance, and it doesn't justify suffering. A man will enjoy pleasure, but he will not build his life around it. But something very different happens when a man believes that a woman gives his life meaning, not happiness, not entertainment, meaning. When he feels that his effort matters, that his protection has a purpose, that his strength is needed, not exploited. That is when a shift occurs. Responsibility stops feeling like a burden and starts feeling like a mission. He wakes up differently. He works differently. He resists temptation differently. Because now, he is no longer acting for approval. He is acting for something larger than himself. This is where modern culture gets men wrong. Men do not avoid responsibility. They avoid meaningless responsibility. They avoid being asked to give without respect, to sacrifice without appreciation, to provide without purpose. Give a man a reason to fight, and he will endure almost anything. Take away the meaning, and even small responsibilities feel unbearable. This is why men can carry extreme pressure at work, risk their lives in dangerous jobs, or suffer silently for years, yet feel emotionally exhausted. In relationships that lack purpose, it is not because they are weak. It is because the fight feels empty. A man commits deeply when he knows why he is committing, when the woman beside him is not a distraction from his mission, but a reason for it. That is when loyalty becomes natural, discipline becomes effortless, and responsibility becomes identity. Men are not built for comfort. They are built for a cause worth suffering for. Attraction is automatic. Commitment is intentional. Attraction happens to a man. Commitment is something he chooses. Attraction begins with the eyes, a glance, a shape, a moment. But commitment begins much deeper, in character, consistency, and emotional reality. A man may desire beauty, and beauty will always matter. But desire alone has never built a life. It has never sustained a relationship, and it has never carried responsibility through hard seasons. Attraction creates interest. Commitment requires trust. A man can be impressed in seconds, but he anchors himself only where he feels stable. This is why attraction alone never sustains a relationship. Because attraction excites the nervous system, but commitment calms it. Men don't stay because they are constantly impressed. They stay because they feel grounded, anchored. A man commits when he feels peace in your presence, not pressure. When your emotions don't feel like chaos, he has to constantly manage. When respect is not conditional on his mood, money, or mistakes. This is something modern dating rarely talks about. Men are not looking for perfection. They are looking for predictability, not boredom, but emotional stability. A man needs to know that his effort won't be punished, his honesty won't be weaponized, and his silence won't be misunderstood as weakness. Attraction may open the door, but character determines whether he stays inside. Because a man doesn't commit to excitement, he commits to structure. He commits to environments where he can focus, build, and grow. This is why men walk away from relationships that look perfect on the outside, but feel unstable on the inside. Drama drains masculine energy. Peace multiplies it. And the deeper truth is this: men don't stay where they feel evaluated. They stay where they feel accepted and respected. A woman who understands this doesn't compete with other women. She doesn't chase attention. She doesn't demand commitment. She creates an emotional environment where commitment becomes the logical choice. Because when a man feels anchored, he stops looking elsewhere, not because he is controlled, but because he is fulfilled. Attraction gets a man's attention, but commitment earns his loyalty. And loyalty is never forced. It is given to the place that feels like home. When a man enters a truly meaningful bond, his biology begins a profound shift that is often invisible to the casual observer, but impossible to deny at a physiological level. The nervous system, hormones, and neural circuits respond to the presence of a partner who embodies stability, purpose, and trust. This is not learned behavior. It is an evolutionary response that has been honed over millennia to ensure survival, protection, and reproduction. A man's energy becomes more focused, his priorities narrow, and his decision-making becomes more strategic. The nervous system continuously scans for environmental cues that indicate worthiness of investment, and when it encounters a woman of value, it prioritizes her above all other distractions. Dopamine and oxytocin reinforce the behaviors that sustain this meaningful connection, while cortisol, the stress hormone, drops in her presence, signaling the nervous system that the environment is safe and supportive. This shift affects not only emotional engagement, but also physical and cognitive states. Testosterone levels regulate assertiveness and risk-taking, while the prefrontal cortex engages more in planning and foresight. When a man perceives the relationship as meaningful, his body naturally aligns toward protection, provision, and long-term commitment. At the neurological level, reward pathways reinforce the bond. The brain interprets trust, emotional stability, and long-term value as high-reward states, making the man more attentive, disciplined, and motivated. This alignment is not universal. It only activates when the woman represents qualities that genuinely signal long-term worth. The man's nervous system ultimately asks a primal question: is this worth investing my life into? The clarity of the answer determines the depth of his engagement. When the answer is yes, distractions fade, focus intensifies, and a profound protective instinct emerges. This biological reaction is the foundation of every strong, meaningful bond a man will ever form. The protective instinct is one of the most fundamental aspects of male biology. Men do not protect what they pity or tolerate. They protect what they value. This instinct is deeply embedded in our evolutionary history. For our ancestors, protection required energy, resources, and risk. Men had to be selective in choosing what and whom to protect, because indiscriminate protection would have been costly, even fatal. When a man respects a woman, his nervous system interprets her as high value and worthy of investment. Respect precedes protection. Without self-respect, boundaries, and standards, a woman cannot trigger a man's deepest protective instincts. Protection is not about pity or weakness. It is about recognizing value and responding accordingly. This selective protection explains why men who are deeply devoted often demonstrate extraordinary discipline, resilience, and drive. Their efforts are not aimless. They are purpose-driven, focused on maintaining and enhancing what they perceive as worth protecting. This is why the most committed men are often the most formidable in their personal and professional lives. Their biology is aligned with purpose, not distraction. Men also protect in ways that are subtle yet impactful. Emotional stability, guidance, and prioritization are all forms of protective investment. Protection extends beyond the physical realm into emotional, mental, and social dimensions. The right woman naturally activates these instincts, creating a cycle of mutual growth and support. Modern relationships often fail because contemporary culture glorifies attraction and ignores the deeper foundations of commitment. Men are told to seek pleasure and novelty, while women are encouraged to demand commitment without understanding the necessary conditions for it. This cultural framework creates a disconnect between desire and meaningful investment. Commitment without meaning is perceived as coercive rather than inspiring. Men resist being trapped in relationships that do not challenge them to grow, and they naturally disengage when they feel stagnation. Meaning, however, transforms commitment into a voluntary, energetic investment that activates purpose, focus, and loyalty. Strong relationships are built on mutual elevation. Each partner must inspire the other to become a better version of themselves. When a relationship lacks this dimension, the emotional energy fades, and the bond deteriorates over time. Men are biologically wired to seek growth and purpose, and a relationship that does not foster these drives is not sustainable. Furthermore, societal messaging often creates confusion. Men are told that attraction is sufficient to maintain commitment, while women are taught to demand loyalty as a solution to insecurity. This misalignment generates resentment, frustration, and eventual disengagement. Understanding the biological drivers behind male commitment can prevent these pitfalls and cultivate relationships that are both satisfying and sustainable. The right woman does not chase a man. She sets standards. Her clarity communicates a non-negotiable framework: rise or remove yourself. This is not intimidation. It is guidance and structure. Men respond instinctively to clarity because it reduces uncertainty and provides direction for their efforts and energy. A woman's self-respect and boundaries create the conditions for a man to thrive. Inspiration, not coercion, motivates transformation. The masculine nervous system is wired to respond to challenges that are meaningful and attainable, not arbitrary or punitive. When a woman embodies purpose, trust, and emotional stability, she naturally draws out focus, dedication, and protective behaviors from a man. This standard-based approach is both subtle and powerful. It ensures that investment is earned, not demanded. The right woman's presence challenges a man to rise to his potential, aligning his biology and behavior with the long-term value she represents. In doing so, she fosters an environment where commitment is not a transaction but a natural response to worth and respect. Strong women are not loud. They are clear. They know their boundaries, their standards, and their non-negotiables. This clarity is often misinterpreted by weaker men as pressure, but it is actually direction. The male nervous system responds to clarity by focusing energy and aligning behavior with value. Weak men interpret standards as a threat because they expose inadequacy and lack of self-discipline. Strong men, on the other hand, perceive standards as a roadmap for growth and contribution. This distinction explains why weak men say, "You're too much." Their subconscious translates this to, "I'm not enough." Understanding this dynamic is crucial for navigating relationships with high-value women. A man who is aligned, biologically and psychologically, with respect and purpose does not fear clarity. Instead, he is energized by it. Weak men disengage, avoiding the pressure to grow and protect, while strong men rise to the occasion, finding meaning and fulfillment in the challenge. The right woman is a foundation, not an escape. She provides emotional stability, security, and support without diminishing ambition or drive. Her presence calms without creating complacency, offering a rare balance that fuels growth rather than stagnation. Emotional safety allows a man to focus his energy on meaningful pursuits, confident that he has a secure base from which to operate. This foundation is not about sheltering him from challenges, but providing the stability to face them effectively. Men do not abandon rare, valuable things. When a woman embodies strength, purpose, and emotional clarity, she becomes irreplaceable, fostering a bond that sustains both partners over time. Men do not change because they are pressured. They do not grow because they are controlled. Men change because they are inspired. A woman who chooses herself, honors her values, and refuses to settle naturally generates respect. This respect is the catalyst for transformation. A man who finds meaning through such a woman is not motivated by fear, obligation, or manipulation. He is motivated by admiration, purpose, and a sense of alignment with something greater than himself. Loyalty, focus, and protective behaviors follow naturally. Meaning drives evolution in the masculine nervous system. It aligns energy, focus, and intention toward growth and commitment. When a woman embodies value and clarity, she becomes the reason a man chooses to invest his life, time, and energy fully. A woman of meaning is not merely a participant in a man's life. She is a catalyst for his full potential. Her presence inspires focus, purpose, and growth. Through respect, clarity, and emotional stability, she becomes the foundation upon which a man constructs his life. When a man engages fully in such a bond, he does not merely exist, he transforms. He becomes disciplined, driven, and purpose-aligned. He protects, provides, and invests, not because he is forced, but because his biology recognizes the value in doing so. In the rare alignment of biology, respect, and meaning, the relationship transcends attraction and evolves into mutual elevation. The man finds his purpose reinforced, his energy focused, and his life profoundly guided by the clarity and standards of the woman he values. She is not just a presence. She is the reason he becomes the man he was meant to be. This integration completes the journey of masculine biological response, demonstrating that deep bonds, founded on meaning and respect, activate the most profound potential within a man, creating relationships that endure, elevate, and inspire.